Why, under this government, has the number of rape convictions and prosecutions fallen to a record low?
Prime Minister.
Mr. Speaker, one of the first things I said when I came to this dispatch box as Prime Minister was that I thought that rape prosecutions and convictions were too low, and that's why we have the end-to-end rape review, and that's why we've been investing in independent sexual violence advisors and independent domestic violence advisors.
Mr. Speaker, we all agree that the figures are appalling. The question is why? The government's own review makes clear that rape convictions and prosecutions have halved since 2016. Halved. We know that's nothing to do with the pandemic because this is a 5-year trend. We know it isn't because there are fewer rape cases being reported, because that number's gone up significantly. So let me return to the question that the Prime Minister hasn't answered. Why does the Prime Minister think that rape prosecutions and convictions have plummeted on his watch?
Prime Minister.
Because, Mr. Speaker, as he knows very well, because he has some experience of this matter, there are considerable evidential problems, particularly in recovering data from mobile phones, and that has been an obstacle to the speedy preparation of cases. And too often, let's be frank, too often cases go from the police to the Crown Prosecution Service not in a fit state, and too often those cases are not in a fit state when they come to court. And what would be good, Mr. Speaker, is if we could have some support from the opposition for tougher sentences for rapists and serious sexual offenders. What kind of a signal does it send when they won't even back tougher sentences, Mr. Speaker?
Keir Starmer.
Mr. Speaker, the Prime Minister knows very well why we voted against his bill, precisely because it did more to protect statues than women. On the Prime Minister's watch, rape prosecution convictions are at a record low. Court backlogs are at a record high. Victims are waiting longer for justice, and criminals are getting away with it. This wasn't inevitable. It's the cost of a decade of Conservative cuts. And even now, the government isn't showing the urgency and the ambition that's needed. Mr. Speaker, the Justice Secretary has done the rarest of things for this government and apologised. But I note the Prime Minister hasn't done that today. It's time he did, that he took some responsibility and backed it up with action. Will he do so?
Prime Minister.
Speaker, as I said to the right honourable gentleman, and I fought to have tougher action against rapists and sexual offenders throughout my time as Mayor of London, and of course to all the victims of rape and sexual violence, all the victims and survivors, of course I say sorry for the trauma that they have been through, the frustration that they go through because of the inadequacies of the criminal justice system. We are fixing that, but above all we are helping them by getting our courts moving again. The fastest, most efficient way to do that, as he knows, is to get our country moving again, which is what we are doing with the fastest vaccination rollout anywhere in Europe, Mr. Speaker. We are getting on with the job, Mr. Speaker. They jabber, we jab, Mr. Speaker. They dither, we deliver. They vacillate, and we vaccinate, Mr. Speaker.